Welcome. I am so excited. My name is Alise Curran. I'm thrilled to be here with the Bakon Brands ladies. I am hosting this author series as part of an interview series where you can learn from other authors and see what they are doing and see if that can help you as a new author or an established one. So I'm thrilled because I have Leanne Thompson and Janine Masi Landreth with us today. And they are the authors of the Bakon Brand series. So far I know about 2 books. I'm excited to hear about a little bit more today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and your books?
Janine, you want to start, or would you like me to start?
You start.
I'll start. Well, we've known each other since 2004. Yeah, that's when I started. We started working at Carter's Oshkosh together in Atlanta. We were in sourcing, global sourcing, their department. So we met, in 2004, became quick friends. Then we ended up deciding, well, I had 2 children and I decided it was time to have a career change. So I decided to stay home with my kids, and Janine kept working. And then she decided it was time to leave the corporate world as well. And we decided to start writing children's books together and illustrating. So that's how this all came about.
It's amazing. It's so funny how the connections that you just everyday life bringing you together.
Yeah, we bonded over a lot of things. We both went into fashion. We both lost our mothers very young. It was a quick connection. I don't think I can do my life without her now. She's a part of my life.
Oh, that's sweet.
And the crazy part was we started to write and met every day at Barnes and Noble and met at a meeting point, and we started writing and drawing and illustrating and rewrite. And then I had to move to Hong Kong for 3 years with my husband for his job.
Yeah.
So
it was a bit of a wrench in the plan there.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. That time difference was huge too.
Wow. Oh yeah. We didn't really continue writing until she got back. Gosh, January of 2020.
Yes.
No. Yes.
20.
Wow. So since then we've been grinding them out and trying to, expand our business into journals and activity books. And we're just, trying to see what else we can get our hands on.
We love your book over here. I have a 4-year-old and we have Everybody Loves Bacon. So that's our reference point, and she is obsessed with it. And it's so cute. I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's great. And it got added to the free little library. So we're thrilled about that too. So speaking of bacon, you have a little character named Bakon in your books, and it's kind of the hub of your brand. How did you come up with Bakon? Was it something that inspired you, or you just it hit you like a lightning bolt, or how did you come up with that?
I came up with him. I just thought, well, I mean, because I actually love eating bacon, but not like we pretend that in the books he's actually eating turkey bacon, just so everyone's aware, because we've had some questions about this before. But I just thought it'd be funny to have, and kind of, it's just silly to have a pig named Bakon that with the I love, like we got the shirt, the I Love New York shirt, because we're also both from New York State.
Okay.
So it all just kind of was a crazy idea I had, and I asked Janine what she thought about it. And then I remember, Janine, actually, you ran it past your stepfather, and he thought it was hilarious. And so I was like, well, then I think let's go with him and see what happens. And that's how I don't know, in my crazy little brain, that's how we came up with him. So
that's awesome. And so when you're working together, I know we talked a little bit about how you were in the same place, and then Hong Kong kind of came in the way, and then you're also in 2 different states now. How do you collaborate with each other? What's that process like? And I'd like to hear a little bit more about the author and illustrator perspective. Do you both do the illustrating? Do you both do the writing? And how does that look with you guys partnering?
Well, we talk every day almost on FaceTime.
At least once a day.
Yeah, at least once a day. We talk every day on FaceTime. With technology today, it's very easy to share files, send JPEGs, do this, but our brains are so in sync that I'll say something and she'll be typing the same thing back to me. So we're kind of on the same wavelength, right, Leanne? We don't.
Yeah, we have the same sense of humor. We find the same things, funny. We just have a lot in common, which makes it easier to work together. And we work very well together because, if somebody doesn't like something, there's a nice way to tell the other one.
Right.
Like maybe we don't do it that way, or I don't know. We just work very well together, which makes it a lot easier. But mostly, I moved down here in 2020. So basically we were not in the same state for very long. So we had to just make adjustments, and we realized that the FaceTime thing was working out for us, and lots of texting.
And we travel back and forth to each other.
Yeah, the first book, I would go up there a lot and spend a couple of days at a time in her little art area that she's in.
Lovely. I love the bookshelf.
Yeah. So we started doing that. I would go up there every couple of months, probably for a couple of days, just to figure everything out, because we didn't really know at first what we were doing. So we were just all in trying to figure it out. But now that we understand the process, it's a lot easier to just keep churning out books, and it just works. And I don't know.
So are you both? Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
And speaking about that process, when we first started out, you don't know how everything works. You don't know how KDP works. You don't know your format. But once you get all that done and you figure out the first book, everything else after that just becomes easier and easier and easier. Mm-hmm. It's just getting over that first initial hump. And then when you figured it out, we have the format set up, we have the page layout set up, and it just flows now. So now you can create more and more and more books. So all the crazy stories in our head, we're trying to get out on paper, work faster.
Right. So tell me about the book. So I'm seeing on your bookshelf there, I see a little Santa Claus pig. Tell me about the different books you have. I know What's Shakin' Bacon and Everybody Loves Bacon, and those are available on Amazon, I've seen. Tell me about the other ones.
The other one we have is an activity book. It basically is a Christmas book that we created at Christmas time. Inside, it's just a bunch of bacon activities for Christmas, word searches, a mix and match, tic-tac-toe, coloring.
Very cute.
This by far is my favorite.
Yeah,
because the creativity that you can put into this is insane.
Yeah, and we would like to do, probably some more of those, probably for mostly holiday driven, I guess. Maybe seasonal, we'll see. We haven't exactly figured all that out yet.
That's a great idea.
We're asking about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's a great idea because it's a good selling point too. Like once you have one for the seasons, people are always looking to buy presents for those holidays coming up. And I mean, how much fun is that for kids? So much fun.
And then you were asking who illustrates and who writes. I would say we started to both try to do both. I tend to write a little bit more and Janine tends to illustrate more. So we kind of just figured out how to work together with like who's got which talents and who, it's just, we had to figure out who was stronger at which part, and it all just kind of worked out that I'm a little more with writing and she's a little more with the illustrations. So I do some of the illustrations as well, but she also writes some of it as well, because we just go back and forth and say, hey, do you like this? Or like she'll show me a drawing and say, is this what you want? Is this what you envisioned? And I will tell her yes or no, or change this, or I write something and she's like, I don't know about that. So I don't know. Janine, do you want to expand on any of that?
No, that's what we do. It works very well because
Sounds like a very collaborative process, which is fantastic. It doesn't always happen like that, so that's amazing. And another question for people who are thinking about doing this, do you have a background in illustration? Do you use a certain program?
I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology. So my background is I have a bachelor's in fine arts. So did all that, and I went into the fashion industry.
Right.
With Leanne was in it as well in the fashion. That's how we connected. So a lot of that art background is basically my background, but you can't make money of it in the real world. So I had to work to make money. And so
Yeah.
an artist was not the true forte, but then I have a wonderful supportive husband who said my creativity, said you have to show the world now because I just do it on the side so much. I love it, and Leanne always loves to draw and do everything like that. So our backgrounds are art-based,
Right.
so to us it comes easier. At the beginning, we drew everything out, like hand drew everything out. We were going to watercolor everything, and then Procreate came out, which was a wonderful thing to happen in the world. So, which made it a lot easier for Leanne and I to communicate as well, because you can share files in Procreate as the file, and she can manipulate it, or I can manipulate it through that sharing process.
That's awesome.
And
I've heard
so
great things about Procreate. I need to explore.
Oh, it is really wonderful. And I highly recommend that app. If you have Adobe Illustration, it'll take you to another level, but you have to pay for that. Starting out, I would not suggest starting out buying Adobe unless you have the suite.
Right.
But Procreate can get you in the right direction. And then as you build your business, then you can have the subscription for Adobe.
Okay.
Yeah. So my background, I went to Clemson University, as you see behind me, and I have a marketing degree. And then I went to Bauder College, which actually no longer is in existence, but it was a fashion design school in Atlanta. So I have that degree as well. And I come from a long line of artists. My aunt is an artist. My mother was an artist. And actually, I think Janine has a lot of artists in her family as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been painting and drawing since I was probably 4. At first, the marketing degree wasn't really an art degree, but then the fashion design, I decided to do that just because I wanted to try to still do my art and see if I could work in the real world. Like Janine said, you don't make a lot of money off of art, but we both figured out a way to, use it in the corporate world as much as we could. And now we're here. So that's basically,
sounds like a very good fit to lead you exactly where you are right now and what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It also, I know we talked a little bit about like some of the positives of you collaborating together. Have you found anything about this process, not necessarily the collaboration, but the bookmaking process, difficult? Is there anything?
Leanne, do you want to say this, or the social media aspect and the marketing yourself? Wow.
You know what's interesting that you say that, though? I follow you on social media, and I am continuously impressed by what you put on and how, and your branding and how it's so, I was actually going to bring that up, and the fact that you always have like the consistent with the bacon, even the little emoji that you include at the end. I think that it's so clear and it so brings you back to what you're doing. I really am always impressed. I take that away, and I take the consistency away in my own social media from you. So I think that although it might be hard, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to give Janine a lot of credit for the social media, because she really took off with that. And although, I do some of the posts, but she does the majority of those posts. I think my marketing background probably helps us with the whole branding thing, and probably our corporate backgrounds. We always had to keep branding in mind when working with Carter's Oshkosh. So we just keep that in the front of our minds, that it's important to be cohesive and always, just like, my husband one time said, how many emblems does Nike have? 1. you don't change your emblem, don't, so I don't know, we just really try to pay attention to that and make everything kind of flow. So it works, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. I mean, like I said, I'm always impressed by that. And I think it's good advice for a new author or even established one to kind of like go back and like, are you sticking with your brand? Is this how you want to present yourself? And how is that going to come up in future projects too? And I'm sure you think about that when you're thinking about future projects, using, the Bakon as the base, and then what can you create around that? I'd love to hear a little bit more about the projects you might have coming up.
Yeah, so to elaborate, so his branding is very important, and we created your pig, and then that's it. So he or she, we do not have a gender for him, it or him, or we do not have a gender. So once you have that branding, and to rehash what Leanne said about corporate world, it is drilled into you about brand. You have to make sure that is your key. So when somebody looks at our account or looks at anything and they see that pig, they know it's Bakon. Done. Yep. You have to keep consistent with your coloring, your palette, everything. You cannot change any of that. For holidays, yes, because it's a holiday and people can assume the holiday. But from there, then we were dabbling on making holiday books, and we weren't for sure when we first started. Mm-hmm. But one day we thought, you know what? I did that whole 12 days of Bakon, and everybody kept saying, you need to make a book, you need to make a book. And I texted Leanne, I said, Leanne, what do you think? Leanne said, are you kidding? We need to make a book. So yep. We are doing 12 days of Bakon coming out for Christmas. And then we decided to do, since we draw so many Bakon characters in costumes all the time, because I love that. I love dressing him up. It's like my highlight of my day.
She does. She goes crazy with her drawings. It's great. It's great. I'm like, perfect. Keep on going.
Yeah, I'm just like, what about this? What about this? Let's do this. And then Leanne say, well, add him as a zombie, add him as this. And it just, you get so excited to get this character and develop him. So then we decided to do a Halloween book. And Leanne quickly hung up the phone and came back. She said, okay, I wrote half of it. Let's go. I was like, okay, got it. So we have a Halloween coming, a Christmas one, and we are currently working on the third book. Okay. It's called My Fair Bakon. And he goes to a fair and he makes a wish, and you got to see what happens when he makes his little wish.
I love it. And I love the suspense. It sounds like a query. Have you considered?
Yeah,
okay.
No, go ahead.
Peeked into my head. Was there ever a time when you were thinking you wanted to go through the traditional publishing route, like with that? I mean, that literally made me think of like what you might send to a publisher. Or was it always you really wanted the creative control, and between you two, you felt like you could really handle it?
No, we did talk to some friends of ours that are authors and illustrators, and they did go through a publisher. I feel like now that, well, we kind of figured out how to self-publish I wouldn't say it was an easy process, but now that we figured out how to do it, I think we don't want our creative process, or we don't want to give up our creativity to somebody else. Like, we don't want to be told how to write a book or how many you can write in a year, because they do that too. I guess we just didn't really want all the rules put on us.
I know what you mean.
So we actually never sent any books to any publishers. Janine, do you have anything to add?
So we talked to your one set of friends that went through a publisher, and they went that route. We talked to another set of friends that are doing the same thing, and they're doing the self-publish as well. And they basically tried going through a publisher, but you have an 18-month rule for if you go to a publisher to write another book. And they like to change things. They try to gear it to what the market wants. If it's I'm just making this up, like, oh, colored pencils are in the market, we need a book on colored pencils. So, and we kind of like the freedom of us doing it ourselves and talking to each other. I think independent publishing is fantastic. And I also think that these publishing houses are feeling the brunt of it now. They're realizing that it's not taking over, but more people can do it. And there's so many talented authors and illustrators out there that are just getting pushed under the rug because they don't think that they can write or that they can draw or.
Right.
So I think it's great. And the other thing that our one friend said about going to a publisher, that you need an agent, which we were confused. We said, what do you mean an agent? And they said, literally, if you're a movie star, you have an agent. They want an agent because they get so many people coming at them that they just need one person to talk to them.
Yeah.
Then you have to hire an agent. And that pay for the agent. And then you also have to pay for the publishing. And some of these publishing houses, they ask you to pay a lot of money for them to publish your book.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And first of all, I think that you have so much to offer and absolutely do not at this stage need to go through that process. And the other thing that I think about that is, like you mentioned before, you have ideas and they're coming and the creative process is flowing and going. And through the traditional publishing route, you also have to wait that time once you send it out to hear anything back about whether that's actually going to happen. And for me, that was my cutoff. I was like, you know what? I want my kids specifically to see my books when they're younger and enjoy them and be able to read them. And, that wait time there for the creative process was a no-brainer for me to go self-publishing. So I agree with everything you just said. And I think it was a really smart move. And I think that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add to our conversation?
Marketing was our biggest struggle. And when a lot of people come to you and say, if you tell them that you're an author or children's author, they always say, I have a book idea. And we listen and we think it's great. But the part that I always ask them, have you read children's books? Well, no. Okay. Well, if you
they always offer their expertise as well and how to market them, or maybe you should send your books to the morning shows or some famous people that you know. And I'm just like, that's just not that simple. You don't just send your books
on file.
Also, what famous people?
I'm gonna go ahead and send it to Oprah because I know her. They just don't think about some of the things they're saying.
Yeah.
And I think that they know, you should do this and this. And it's like, well, we've explored a lot of options and it's just not quite as simple as you think it is. So
we don't have their address or phone number on file for them to get the book. But the only advice that I want to let everybody know is that do your research. Do the research up front. Read a lot of books. Read them. Look at the illustrations. Look at the words. Look at how they rhyme or don't rhyme. See if there's a message. Do your homework. We took a class as well. Like we took an online class, how to write a children's book and how to convey it. Right. And it always goes, so you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and have a message, have a hero in the book. Create that so the kid is excited to read and the parent is excited to read the book for the child. Where, I mean, if you have children, after a while you're like, oh, we're reading that book again. It's just,
I know.
Okay. Those are the things that we want to say. And marketing is the biggest struggle in today's world with social media and TikTok and all of that stuff. And it goes back to our branding where there's platforms like we don't want to be on TikTok. I don't want to be on that platform. I don't think that the people on there are kind of scrolling for children's books. I think they're looking at the videos, but
probably not.
Yeah, there is a book talk community, but it's, from what I understand, and I agree with you, I'm not on there for books either, for my children's books, but I find Instagram community so supportive and lovely, and you learn so much from everyone. I much more prefer that than trying to be on TikTok for book marketing.
And I think the book market on TikTok is more the young adults and the biographies and all.
I mean,
Right.
Small children, really small children, I don't think are on TikTok as much as, you know, probably the teens and all that.
And shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Um,
And we do use Facebook as a platform as well. We're not as active on that. It's just, it's a little bit different than Instagram. I feel like Instagram's way more fast paced than Facebook, but we do both just to have, you know, any outlet we can have to get our book out there as much as we can. So.
And Elise,
Right.
do you do Facebook? Do you think
Not
that?
for my books. I have my personal Facebook, but I just don't. I saw when I first started this some advice that basically just said like invest in one to start, like invest. And I really invested in Instagram and enjoyed it and find it creative and like doing it that way. So for now, I'm really only on but I might move into Facebook a bit.
I think
Because I am
Instagram
familiar with it.
probably, yeah, I think Instagram is probably the best platform for what we're trying to, you
And
know,
I
accomplish.
often share my Instagram posts and reels on Facebook, but on my personal Facebook. So I feel like at some point I might get into doing a professional one, and then it just everything be kind of like doubled over. But food for thought.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what we did.
So where can everyone find you? That's what I want people to know. They should be online. They should be on Instagram. They should be looking up Bakon Brands.
We are on Instagram at Everybody Loves Bacon. We're on Amazon under Bakon Brands. If you type in Bakon Brands with a K, then you'll find everything that we do. We do journals, books, and that's the other thing. We do journals as well. And inside each journal is a hand-drawn illustration on the front and the back.
Wow.
Well, and
That's
all of our
awesome.
journals, yeah, our journals either are well, she drew that butterfly behind her actually.
Butterfly.
Wow.
And photography, I did a lot of the photography for the flowered books. She did, you know, then she's got the Harry Porker back there. She drew that one. So we did all the artwork for the journals. It's all original artwork as well. So
Oh, that's amazing. And do you ever do any sort of like local fairs or bookstores or anything like that? Or is that something you consider?
We did 3 fairs, right, Liam? 3. We did the Bacon Festival, which it snowed, so that didn't turn out so well. We did one up in Atlanta, all way up North Atlanta, and then we did another one in Atlanta as well. They were okay. The last one we did was probably our best one, but I read at the library now, which was very interesting, which I've never done before, it's fun to get your name out there. But
Right.
we're looking to probably do more library reads and school reads. The markets and stuff are great, but you need more children's books. So we only have 3 currently at the time, so it's hard to get people in there. So yeah, but I would say do those as well. I mean, they help.
Yeah, and I find them fun to connect with other kind of creators also. That's my favorite part about them. Even when I leave and I'm like, oh, sales were okay, but you know, I met this person and this person, they did it this way. And, you know, even their table displays, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take that for next time. And, you know, so that's always fantastic. Well, I am so excited that we finally got to connect. I really appreciate you coming on. And I know that we will continue to communicate with each other online and check out all your stuff. So if you're watching this, check out Everybody Loves Bacon on Instagram and check out everything that they have to offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, of course. Thanks.